Hello my acceptable people, this is me, Mr. Acceptable. So it's that time again when I share my stories with you. Today I thought I would tell you about the 2 times I got robbed. And yes, it is that magic number, that lovely number 2. And I'm not talking about turds. I was around 14 when I first got robbed. I was making my way back home from school when I was approached by 4 boys, 2 on bikes and 2 walking. Dear number 2, you're just not acceptable. Anyway, one of them said oi, and the one that was wearing a bandana over his face said give me your phone. I was really scared and started shaking really badly because the boy who asked for my phone was holding firmly onto my arm. And speaking of arms, if you haven't checked out my dislocated bones video, the link will be on the screen and in the description. So back to the story. So I'm struggling to get my phone out and the boy said hurry up or I will put one in you. Assuming that he meant a knife, I quickly gave him my phone and they went off. I was so shocked, I was shaking and I started to cry. So I quickly ran home. When I got home, I opened the door as quickly as I could and told my mum what had just happened. She said I had to report it to the police. So we reported it to the police. So the police did a good job of finding the people who robbed me, and they were given what they deserved. A ton of community service and a hefty fine. I guess karma is just an acceptable thing. I also found out that they were carrying knives with them, so I was lucky that I didn't get hurt really. So the second time I got robbed was quite recently. I was making my way back from college and heading to a friend's house. I had my bag with me and I was holding a drink, and I didn't want to hold the drink anymore, so I stopped for a minute to put the drink in my bag. Anyway, this must have caught the attention of the thief, as I must have looked like an easy target because I was putting stuff in my bag and I wasn't aware of what was surrounding me. The guy that robbed me was a bit strange. At first he asked for a cigarette. I said sorry, I don't smoke. But then he asked if I smoked weed. And I'm thinking, why would you ask a silly question when you clearly know I don't smoke in the first place? So I was really anxious. I knew that something was up. He then asked, have you got any money on you? At this point I knew what was happening. I knew I was gonna get robbed, but I was so scared because I thought of the time when I last got robbed and I knew that people did have knives on them. So what's gonna stop this person having a knife on him as well? He said show me your pockets. So obviously I showed him my pockets because I was scared and I didn't want to get stabbed. So I showed him my pockets and all I had was a £5 note and a cheap phone. So he says give me your phone and give me your money. So I give him the money and the phone and he says is that all you got? I said yes. He said don't lie to me. So I show him every pocket and say, look, this is all I've got. I've just come from college and I've only got a £5 left. So he said okay and walked away. So this has been me, Mr. Acceptable, telling the stories of how I got robbed. And tell me, have you ever been robbed before? And what would you do if it was you? And whatever you do, just make it acceptable. Goodbye.